Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here and it's time for another book haul. This is just a culmination of books that I've picked up. As usual, none of them cost me very much. I get them all secondhand or from charity shops, but they're books that I wanted to pick up. Don't judge me. I own a lot of books, but that's okay. And yeah, I just pick them up when I see them because you never know. If you go into a charity shop, you see a book that's on your wish list, you don't buy it, it's never there the next time you go. So as long as I've got a little bit of cash and enough to pay for it, then I tend to pick it up. So let's look at the books. The first three I just had to pick up because I hear Jen from Jen's Library talk about this all the time, and this is the Cricket series by Amy A. Bartle. I've got Under Different Stars, Sea of Stars and Darken the Stars, and she tells me that this is a brilliant series, and so I can't wait to get to this. I don't know much about this series, but I do know that it is about a young girl called Cricket. She's in the sort of orphanage system. She doesn't really know who she is. She meets a young soldier who has been tasked with the job of taking her back to where she should be or where she's from, and it's about their sort of journey. So it's spacey and romantic, and I love that sort of thing, and I trust Jen. She's a big Jill Shalvis Lucky Harbour series lover, and you know, you can't go wrong with someone that loves that. The next book is another Sarah Addison Allen book. If you looked at my last book haul, you'll know that I've been collecting her books, even though I haven't read any yet, but I know I'm going to love. And this is The Girl Who Chased the Moon. I really appreciate this cover. I think these are sort of a little bit magical realism. It's set in North Carolina. It's about a girl that goes back to Mullaby in North Carolina, hoping to solve some of the riddles of her mother's life. Why does she leave her hometown suddenly, and why does she vow never to return? And I get the feeling there's some sort of magical, there's a neighbour that bakes hummingbird cakes to bring back a lost love. It just sounds like a really lovely read. Next, I picked up The Accidental Life of Jessie Jefferson by Paige Toon. I've wanted to read this for a while. I've seen a few people talk about it. I think there's 2 books out in this series, but this is the first one, and it's about a girl called Jessie. I think her mother dies and she finds out that her dad is a rock star and ends up going to live with him, and it's about what happens. The next book is The Demon Trapper's Daughter by Jana Oliver. I've heard this is brilliant. It's about a young girl who comes from a family of demon trappers. She wants to be a demon trapper, but I hear that perhaps it's only a job for boys. But because of various things that are happening in the world, she's allowed into the Demon Trappers Guild and is allowed to become one. And yeah, I've just heard really good things about this and it sounded brilliant, so I picked it up. Next up is a book that I picked up purely because of my fascination currently with North Korea, having just read Yeonmi Park's In Order to Live, and I read a fictional book by Kerry Drury called All the Bright Places, and so I picked up Nothing to Envy, Real Lives in North Korea by Barbara Demick. I've heard really great things about this. It's a non-fiction story about North Korea, and I just really want to read more about this country because I find it very interesting. So the next book I picked up is called Hunting Lila by Sarah Alderson. This is about a girl who has a couple of secrets. She can move things with her mind, and she's also in love with her brother's best friend. I think she has to escape because someone finds out about her powers, and she meets up with her dad and her brother who are looking for her mother's killer. It just sounds like a really fast-paced, fun YA book. I next picked up two books in a sort of YA fantasy series by David Baldacci, and that is The Finisher and The Keeper. David Baldacci writes adult sort of crime books, and my dad really loves the books that he writes, and so I've sort of grown up being around them. And when I found out that he was writing a YA series, I wanted to pick them up, and they just seem really interesting. I'll read you the back of the first one. Enter a village imprisoned by its fear of the unknown, where curiosity is discouraged and no one has ever left or wanted to until now. Then a mysterious bequest turns one teenage girl's life upside down. A curious map and a ring which connects Vega to another time lead her to discover an unknown world beyond the parameter walls. A world filled with possibilities and creatures beyond her imagining. But before Vega can experience it, she will be forced to fight for her freedom, and unravelling the truth of what exists beyond the confines of her village may cost Vega her life. So this sounds intriguing. Next up is my monthly subscription book that I get from Willoughby Book Club. They picked a blinder, I think. This month they picked me Number 9 Dream by David Mitchell. I read The Bone Clocks recently by him, and I'm really intrigued by this one. This is about a boy just about to turn 20 who heads to Tokyo to find his long-lost father, and there will no doubt be some magical realism and all sorts of weird, wonderful things happening in this, but I can't wait to give it a go, and I just think this front cover is beautiful. The final selection of books I picked up in my charity shop for really cheap. So firstly, I picked up Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I've really always wanted to read this, so I picked it up in the hope that next year I will finally pick it up and then watch the film. I picked up a book called The Story of Beautiful Girl by Rachel Simon. Now, I believe I've heard of this one. I think it's been on a couple of sort of book clubs. It's about it's set in the 60s, and it's about a young American couple who one night a couple with a baby appear on their doorstep and ask them to look after the daughter, and the couple on the doorstep that are giving up the baby have fled from the school for the incurable and feeble-minded, and it's just meant to be a really powerful, beautiful story, so I can't wait to get to this one. This book I picked up purely on the sort of back, and it just intrigued me. It's called The Separation by Dinah Jeffries. I'll read you the back. A country at war with itself, a family divided and betrayed. Malaya, 1955. Lydia Cartwright returns from visiting a sick friend to an empty house. The servants are gone. The phone is dead. Where is her husband Alec, her young daughter Emma and Fleur? Fearful and desperate, she contacts the British District Office and learns that Alec has been posted up country. But why didn't he wait? Why did he leave no message? Lydia's searches take her on a hazardous journey through war-torn jungle. Forced to turn to Jack Harding, a man she vowed to leave in her past, she sacrifices everything to be reunited with her family. And while carrying her own secrets, Lydia will soon face a devastating betrayal which she may be more than she can bear. So I just thought this sounded brilliant. These were some brilliant finds in my local charity shop. I picked up a graphic novel, Fun Home, by Alison Bechdel. This is a graphic memoir, I believe, about her growing up and her life, and discovering that she was a lesbian. So I'm really interested in picking this one up. I've heard brilliant things about it. And then two books which I hadn't picked up previously, but they were in the charity shop and I thought, why not? And that is Mouse Volumes 1 and 2 by Art Spiegelman. I believe this is sort of a story about a family in Nazi Germany, but written from the perspective of mice as the Jews and cats as the Germans and the Nazis. So yeah, I'm excited to give these a go, and I just couldn't believe I found them in my charity shop. So those are the books that I picked up that I probably shouldn't, but hey ho, I'm going to enjoy them. And let me know if you've read any of these, what you think of them, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.